excuse me. And I asked Priscilla specifically, one, because Priscilla works with a lot of buyers and she's as good as anybody working with buyers. So I figured she would be very realistic in doing a buyer consultation. Two, because Priscilla and I have that type of relationship where if she thinks that I'm not doing very great, she can tell me I'm not doing very great, or she could say that's not, I don't know, I don't think that's realistic, Robert, things like that. I don't think some of you would do that. Some of you thrive on doing that, but Priscilla would, I think, is very reasonable and very realistic in that regard. So that's why I asked you that. Now, to be fair, all I told Priscilla was that she's a referral from Nancy and she can do whatever she wants from there. So I have no idea. I'm not going into this with any agenda. I have no idea what she's going to tell me. I have no idea what objections she's going to throw at me. I have no idea what her story is, nothing. So because I wanted to make this as realistic as possible for you, because that's kind of how you go through things. You get leads and you don't know what they're, what's happening. So, excuse me. I want to get this started. All right. So Priscilla, are you ready to do this?
Ready.
All right. So it's recorded. It's recording. Let me turn up my volume. Let me change this to speaker view. All right. Fantastic. And we're off. All right. So Priscilla, I really appreciate you meeting me on here on Zoom today. Everything okay getting you logged in? All the links worked?
Yep. So far, so good.
All right. Fantastic. Technology, you never know. So I really appreciate it. I know that you were referred to me over by Nancy. She said you were looking into buying a place. So I'm excited that we have the opportunity to talk. And really what the point of us getting together today is I want to learn really what you're looking for in a property, because there's so many different options of buying a home, different sizes, different types of property, different locations. And I don't want to just guess and show you random places. And I'm guessing you don't want me to do that either. So really the point of this is to get a good feeling for what it is you're looking to accomplish. Sound fair?
Sounds good.
Okay. Now, I want to preface this by saying I'm going to go through a number of questions. Some of this might not be relevant to you, but I want you to really, give me what it is you're feeling about the type of property you want. Even if you think, well, there's no way in heck, Robert, that I could qualify for a property that way. Just let's go through it and we'll see what we can figure out. And if I don't think it's a fit for you, I'll be honest, but you just never know. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right, cool. So let's start, Priscilla, with the areas that you're interested in. So what areas are you looking to buy?
Primarily Lakewood, maybe parts of Long Beach. Cerritos is good. And yeah, I think Lakewood is where we really want to be, but a couple of surrounding neighborhoods would be fine.
Okay, so Lakewood is number one priority. Long Beach, Cerritos. Now you said some parts of Long Beach. So when you say some parts of Long Beach, is that like a specific zip code, specific little pockets?
Any areas of Long Beach that would border Lakewood.
Okay. Border Lakewood and then Cerritos. Okay, so got it. Okay, cool. And now tell me what's important about those areas.
Well, I actually teach one of the elementary schools in Lakewood. So I want to be able to stay close to work. And my husband works in the Anaheim area. So we kind of want something in between where we don't have to commute that far and still be close to work and family.
Got it. Got it. All right. So the plan is, we'll keep this between you and I. We're going to keep you close to Lakewood. We'll make him drive to Anaheim.
Right.
Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that would be great. As long as he's okay with it.
Okay. So being close to work for kind of both of you is really the main reason to look in those neighborhoods.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. Perfect. All right. That makes sense. So now let's get into a little bit about the house that you're interested in. So are you looking at a single family home, condo, townhouse, multi-unit? What's the preference?
Yeah, we would prefer a single family house. Right
Okay.
now, we're currently living with family, but we are newly engaged and we really want to get our new place and start growing our family. So we also have a dog, so a yard is important. And right now, with teaching, sometimes I'm working from home and from our campus. So ideally, at least 3 bedrooms would be preferred. Um, and then as long as it's in a safe area and, not that far from work, like I said, I think a house is what we're really looking for.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. So we're looking for single family residence. All right. And you said preferably 3 bedrooms,
Yes.
because that was my next question, was bedrooms. Now, what's barring the house checked off a bunch of other boxes, is 3 bedrooms the minimum? Would 2 somehow work? What's the thought on that?
I mean, I've seen some 2 bedrooms with like an extra office space or a den. That could work, but I think realistically, a 3 bedroom would be something we would be able to utilize for a longer period of time.
Okay.
So yeah, we need
Okay.
that extra office space.
Yeah, right. Because you're working from home a little bit.
Right.
Fantastic. Now, and then your fiance, and congratulations on getting engaged. That's
Thank
exciting.
you.
Now, does he ever work from home as well?
No, he doesn't work from home.
Okay, got it. Okay. All right. Just want to make sure that when we're looking at a place, if he was, you're not on top of each other. Okay. Otherwise, you might not make it to the ceremony. So, okay. So 3 beds. Now, how many bathrooms ideally?
Um, I mean, we can live with one if in the future we can add another. We know that, a house isn't really going to be perfect, but ideally 2 would be great, but 1 is fine for now. And maybe in the future we can add on another one.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Now, is there a certain square footage minimum or maximum that you're looking at?
Not really. We do want a master bedroom. Um, I'm thinking maybe like around at least 12 to 1300 square feet. Does that sound like is that what houses go for that have master bedrooms?
Yeah, so it's certainly possible. Certainly
Okay.
possible in the area. Yeah, 12 to 1300 square feet. Okay, got it. Got it. And now I know you said you wanted a yard because you have the dog. Now, the overall lot size, is there a certain lot size that's a minimum or maximum that you're looking for?
No, not really.
Okay. Okay, so that's not too important. Okay. And does it matter if it's 1 story or multi-story?
Nope. 1 story or 2 story would be perfectly fine.
Okay. Got it. Okay, cool. Perfect. All right, so good. So this paints a really good picture for me. I appreciate that. So now let's go over some features here that you may or may not be interested in. So a pool. Is a pool ideal, not ideal? What's your thoughts on a pool?
We don't need a pool. We probably would never really use it, so no pool is fine.
Okay. Well, I guess if you're going to live in Lakewood, you just go to the ocean. Is that kind of the mentality?
Yeah, we're not big water people, so yeah.
Got it. All right. What about a fireplace?
Not that important, but we would prefer central heating and air.
Okay. So central heating and air. Got it. Okay. We talked about the backyard. So definitely need to work on that. And now in terms of turnkey, are you open to doing some renovations, or it's got to be ready to go right from the get?
We're actually open to doing a minimal amount of cosmetic upgrades, like if it needs, new paint, new carpet, or new flooring, something that's not going to be structural changes. We're okay with. So we're okay with a little bit of work, not too much.
Okay. And then do you have a flooring preference, carpet, tile, hardwood?
No, not necessarily. We can always switch that out if we don't like something.
Okay, great. And is there any particular type of view that's a yes or no? If you're looking at something specific that would be a turn off or anything along those lines?
We try to shy away from homes that are too close to the freeway because of the noise and pollution.
Okay.
However, I don't think we've seen enough houses to really tell what a terrible view would be. A lot of the houses we've driven by and seen when there used to be open houses were mostly single family homes and
Okay.
they were tucked into the neighborhood. So preferably not on a main street or close to freeways.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Well, you know what? This is going very well because you're actually answering a lot of my next questions, which was going to be like, do you want to be on a main street? So no main street. Okay. Is the thing that you don't want to be, when you say you don't want to be close to the freeway, that's fine. Is there a certain distance that you'd want to be away? Like, do you want to have a short drive to the freeway or do you want to really kind of separate yourself?
Yeah, short drive is fine. I think most of the areas in Lakewood we've looked at are pretty close enough to the freeways for my husband to, get on to go to work and stuff. But I guess what I mean by not too close is just the noise level. Sometimes
Right.
it can be really loud. So
Oh,
I
I
don't know,
get it.
maybe like a mile away or something like that.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. Mile away. Got it. Okay. And then is the school district that you're going to be in important?
Um, no, that it shouldn't change for me. I'm going to be teaching at the same school regardless.
Okay.
Mhm.
Perfect. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Fantastic. So that kind of helps out. Okay, cool. So the next thing I put down here, just a little bit more about kind of living in the house. So it's going to be yourself, your fiance. Great. And what's your fiance's name?
His name is Matthew.
Matthew. Okay. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. And any kids?
No kids.
Okay. Got it. Got it. And now I apologize if this seems a little forward, but I'll explain why I'm asking this in a second. Are you planning on having kids while you're in this house?
Yeah, ideally, we'd like to make this our first home and grow our family here, and something we'll be living in for the next few years. It's not a short-term investment. It's something we want to stay in for a while. Um, so yeah, this is a home we can see ourselves living in for a long time.
Okay. And I asked that question, Priscilla, because I want to make sure that the house we find fits what you're looking for in the next few years, not just today. So when you tell me that, yeah, we're looking to maybe have kids at this house, kind of one of the things that pops up, the 3-bedroom would probably be okay, but we probably would really need to focus on that second bathroom more than the first one.
Mhm.
Right? Okay, got it. That's kind of why I asked. Just want to make sure we're looking for the future as well. All right. Any parents or family members that are going to be living with you?
Nope, just us.
Okay. Got it. Got it. Now you said you have a dog. What kind of dog do you have?
It's a Labrador.
Labrador.
Yeah.
All right. Yellow, chocolate, black
Lab-
lab. What kind?
Mhm. Yeah, he's a chocolate Labrador.
Chocolate lab. All right. What's the dog's name?
His name is Max.
Max. All right.
Mhm.
Great, great, great. All right. So you got a chocolate lab named Max. Okay. So you definitely need a little bit of a bigger yard. Max is not going to be okay just on a patio.
No, yeah, definitely not. We want like a little bit of grass space, some room for it to run around a little bit, but he goes on his daily walks, but we just want him to have enough space outside to, do what he has to do and have a little bit of grass area as well.
Perfect. 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 Okay, great. And now who is all involved in the decision-making process? So I assume it's you, Matthew. Is there anyone else that's going to be involved in this?
Nope, just the two of us.
Okay. Okay. And he's on board with these areas that you're looking at, the type of home that you're describing to me.
Right, exactly. Yeah, we've been talking about it for a few months now, and I think Lakewood is the sweet spot of where we would both be happy, and then parts of Long Beach as well.
Got it. Got it. Even if he's not on board, he'll be on board.
Yeah, okay. We'll get him on board.
We know who the decision maker is. All right. Got it. Okay. Perfect. All right. Well, again, Priscilla, I really appreciate this because you're really painting a picture of the type of house that we're looking for. So I think this is going to work out well. So let's get away from the house a little bit and talk about price. So have you already been pre-approved?
Yes, we're
Okay, great.
pre-approved
And then how much were you pre-approved for?
up to 750, and we're doing 20% down.
750. Okay, 20% down. Fantastic. Good for you. Now, are you looking to go up to 750 or did you want to stay below that?
I think 750 is our sweet spot. We can actually qualify for a lot more, but as soon as we start growing our family, I'm planning to take time off of work, and I want my husband be able to make those payments without my assistance if need be.
Sure.
So I think 750 is where we're looking to start with our search.
Okay, so we're going to max it at 750.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, and then I'm assuming the lender's gone through the total payment with you, is not just the mortgage payment, what the taxes and insurance would be.
Yep. Yeah,
And
exactly.
so if at 750, your loan, everything's good as far as that.
Right, exactly.
Okay, got it. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, cool. Cool. Now, Priscilla, the only other question I have before we kind of get into the next thing about buying a property is there anything we didn't cover that's important to know about the house that you're looking for?
Well, we've been keeping an eye on the market for a while. So do you think realistically we'll be able to find a 3-bedroom, maybe 2-bath house under 750 in the Lakewood area?
Based on what I know of the marketplace and kind of going over what you had described here for me, I definitely think it's possible. Yeah, absolutely. There's certainly some properties that could be available that would fit that description. So, yeah, I don't see a problem with that. Anything else we didn't cover, or any other questions you have before I kind of go on to my next step?
No, I think that was my main question.
Okay, got it. Okay, so what I wanted to move on to next, just to kind of wrap this up, is to give you an idea about buying in today's market, just so you know what to expect, kind of what, to be fair, I would be expecting of you, just so we're on the same page. Okay. So you seem to be pretty savvy as far as knowing what you're looking for, kind of the areas and things like that. So how much research have you done on the marketplace right now for buying a home?
Well, we were looking pretty aggressively last year when there was open houses, and then once the open houses closed down, we kind of took a little bit of a break because prices just continue to go up. But at this point, I mean, our wedding's going to be later this year, and we really just want to move out of families to get into our own spot. So we're a little bit more motivated, you can say, to get our own place and find the right house so we can move in this year.
Got it. Okay, cool. All right, perfect. So really what's important about the market today in the areas that you're looking, if I could say that the biggest word right now is fast. Okay. So I'm sure that of the research you've done, you've noticed that homes kind of go on the market and then the next day they're no longer on the market. Right. I'm sure you've probably noticed that. So it's really important for us to be fast if we really want to purchase something in the market today. So here's what I mean. My job is to take everything that you've told me, and I've got all the notes written down here. Okay. I wasn't playing on my phone, I promise. Okay. So take all the notes you've given me and find you the homes that fit that description. But here's the thing. When a home hits the market, we probably are going to need to schedule a showing within 24 hours. So if a home hits the market and I call you and Matthew and say, hey, this home hit the market, it fits your criteria, are you able to schedule a showing within the next, say, 24 to 48 hours? Does that time frame work for you based on what you're trying to accomplish?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Okay.
we finally get off like around 5, so anytime like 5:30 during the week, we're open. And then of course the weekends we're more flexible on our time.
Perfect. That works fine. And I only say that. I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, it's too much, it's pressure and all these other things. It's just that's the way the market's going. If we don't schedule a showing fast, then we might miss out on it. And I would just hate you to miss out on any potential opportunities. Okay. So the next thing is after we schedule the showing, we go see the property. Typically, we're going to need to make a decision within 24 hours if you want to make an offer on that property. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And that time frame works for you?
I think so. I mean, we'll kind of discuss it amongst each other and be
Yeah.
able to tell you if we like it or not right away.
Yeah. And here's the thing, you don't have to, 24 hours might seem like, wow, that's, it's just 24 hours. But based on my experience, we're going to go see a property and you're probably going to know 5 minutes after you see it if you have any interest in putting an offer in on it or not. Okay. And you don't have to decide at that moment. Discuss it with Matthew when you go home after we see some properties, sleep on it, think it over, and then call me back the next morning and just say yes, no, whatever the case may be. But typically it's about a 24-hour turnaround before we have to submit an offer. Okay. I just want to prepare you for that. Okay. Now, as far as submitting offers, just to kind of give you the scope on that, I'm sure you've probably seen, as you mentioned, prices keep going up, that there is pretty competitive out there. Okay. So my job is, again, to read the market, read the comps based on the properties that we're looking at to give you an idea of, hey, this is what we might have to submit for the price of the property. You might be able to do this, so on and so forth. But more than likely in the areas you're looking, I'm probably going to ask you to submit an offer that's at list price and potentially even above. Okay. Are you okay with that?
Well, how much above are you talking?
So it's a great question. I don't know, because each property is uniquely different. Okay. Now, we've had some properties in Lakewood and the surrounding areas that have gone $80,000 above list price. We've had some that go 20 or 25,000. So each property is uniquely different. It just depends on how it's listed. Some agents in the marketplace tend to list their properties very low to get that bidding war going. Some agents on the reverse tend to list their properties very high, which then gives us a little more wiggle room to either come down or not have to go that much above the list price. So I'll kind of give you an idea about that. But the most important thing to consider when you're writing an offer on these properties is, well, let me ask you this a question. Are you okay paying the full appraised value of a property?
What does that mean?
Meaning that you're going to have an appraisal, and if the appraiser comes back and says this property is $750,000, you're willing to pay $750,000.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes.
Okay. That's the key thing to think about in this type of marketplace. I say that because sometimes I might come to you and say, hey, Priscilla, Matthew, I'm talking to the agent, kind of building a relationship with them. They've got offers $50,000 above list price. So I know it's listed at $675,000, but I'm going to ask you to go $725,000. And you might say, Robert, you're crazy. Why would I pay $50,000 above the list price on this home? It's all about the appraisal. Okay. So if the appraisal comes back at $725,000, it's not that you overpaid for the property. You're just simply paying the full appraised value of the property. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that would be okay with us.
Okay. That's really the key thing. Okay. In terms of that with this type of marketplace, is I just don't want you to feel that you're overpaying if it appraises at that. Now, if it doesn't appraise at that, we have what's called an appraisal contingency. And what that means is that you have a certain number of days, and we negotiate that when we write up the offer. If you open up escrow, you have a certain number of days to get an appraisal. When the appraisal comes back, if the appraisal comes in lower than what you offered, then we have the opportunity to either go to the seller and try to negotiate a lower price. They could always counter and say no, or come back in the middle. But you're in control. And if you don't like the terms, you can always cancel. That's what the appraisal contingency does. Does that make sense?
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, great. But that's just kind of how it works in this particular marketplace. So that's kind of the gist of it. It's really about being fast, getting out there, seeing properties, things along those lines. But I want you to know that this is your home. It's your money. It's your home. This is your deal. So if at any point, if we're out seeing properties and you say, Robert, this isn't for us, or you know what, I'm not comfortable offering that price, you just let me know, because this is all about you. I'm only here to just give you the information to give you the best chance possible to get a home. Does that sound fair?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. So I don't ever want you to think that I'm pushing you towards something. It's really all about you. I'm just giving you the information that I have. Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, perfect. So once we do that, essentially we're going to submit offers on the property. You might get the first one. We might not get the first one. We might get outbid. Sometimes people do crazy things, but we'll have 2 or 3 other homes to always go look at. So we're never just going to go see one particular property. We'll always give you a couple different options. We'll look at all those. Once we finally get into escrow, really the process, it moves pretty quickly, but typically it's 30 days. Just make sure you're in touch with your lender constantly. We'll do the appraisal, we'll do the inspection. Once the inspection comes back, again, we'll go over the report, figure out if we need to ask for repairs. Now, I just want to give you a little bit again of what's going on in the marketplace. Have you ever seen a home inspection?
No, actually I haven't. What is
Okay.
it?
Okay. Just to prepare you, the inspector's job is essentially to let you know that the house is inches away from falling down. Okay. Now I know that might sound scary, but you're going to get an inspection report and you might go, oh my gosh, this, and this, because it's a 30-page report. And I will walk you through that. And I will make sure that if there's anything that's really drastic, we'll address that. Most of the things though, just so you're prepared, are pretty minor. And in this marketplace, because of the competition, we may be able to ask for some repairs, but it might be limited, if any, just based on the marketplace. Make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay. Again, I'm trying to give you as much information as possible now so we don't get 30 days down the road and something pops up that you're not prepared for. Okay. So we'll go through the inspection. Again, we talked about the appraisal. After that, we go through the rest of the loan process, punch of paperwork and different things along those lines. And assuming everything goes through after that, then you're ready to go. Really, escrow, it's all about the first 10 to 12 days. After the first 10 to 12 days, typically things go pretty smoothly, but that's when you're getting your inspections. That's when you're doing your appraisals. That's when the lender gets the property to underwriting. So once we get past all that, then you're probably going to be in good shape. Make sense?
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, cool. Any questions on anything I went over?
You mentioned sometimes people do crazy things to get a house. What sort of crazy things are you seeing right now?
You know, I've seen things where we have people that just really go extremely high above the list price, and sometimes we'll even waive appraisal contingencies. With what that means is that they're willing to buy the property even if the appraisal comes in short. So let's say, for example, that you see a property that's 700,000 and you're like, I'm all in, let's go get it. And I come back to you and I say, all right, Priscilla, Matthew, based on my conversation with the agent, you're probably going to have to go maybe 740. You say, okay, great. Every so often, someone will come in and say, I'll give you 765 and waive the appraisal contingency. And so they're outbidding everybody. And they're essentially saying, even if this property appraises at 740, I'll pay the $25,000 difference just to get the property. Okay. Now that happens sometimes. It doesn't always happen. If you're dealing with a really savvy listing agent, which sometimes we are, sometimes we aren't, they'll do some extra questioning, because that could be a little bit of a concern when somebody's trying to outbid, because then they might try to do different things for the inspection and variety of other different things. So that's part of the gig. So you will see that sometimes. Okay. People going really high or waiving contingencies, things along those lines. Sometimes you might, deal with a cash buyer. Cash buyers aren't as relevant as they were a couple of years ago, but they're still out there. And I mean, put yourself in a seller's shoes. If you're offering 750 and someone's offering 750, but cash, they're probably going to take it. So you do run into some things like that, but if you come in very competitive with price, you obviously have 20% down. That is a huge, huge plus. Okay. If we're fast on seeing the property, fast on getting our offers in, and your offer is very aggressive, right there near the top of price, and I can do my job to build some sort of relationship with the listing agent, then we'll find you something. Again, it might not be the first house, but we're going to find you something.
Okay. All right. Sounds good.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
Okay, cool. Any other questions on anything I've gone over, just questions you have in your mind, things you'd written down, anything along those lines?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, great. So the last part of this, Priscilla, just to get started, is I'm going to DocuSign over a contract for you and Matthew to sign. This is essentially just a contract saying that the two of you and I are working together to help you purchase a home. Make sense?
Okay, sure.
Great. So I'm going to send that over to you, review that. If you have any questions, reach out to me and we'll get started. But here's what I'd like to do, based on all the information I have. It's 12:50 on Tuesday. Are you and Matthew available to go see properties Thursday afternoon?
Yeah, I think that should be fine. Like after we get off work.
Yeah, I mean, you said 5:30, right?
Right.
Okay. So why don't we do this? Why don't you just plan on that? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get started on making some phone calls, going online, seeing what's available, and seeing if I can schedule some showings for you Thursday afternoon. Does that sound good?
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
Perfect. In the meantime, if you can just send me over that pre-approval letter, that would be great.
Okay, I'll do that.
Perfect. All right, good. All right. Well, hey, Priscilla, I know we went through a lot of information here, but again, I'm just trying to make sure I give you the best service possible. And I can't thank you enough for, giving me all this. This is really going to help out with our home search. So if you have any questions, I know I'm only speaking to you. If Matthew have any questions, you have my cell phone, give me a call, give me a text, send me an email, even if it's the most basic thing. This is, I want to make sure you're in the most comfortable position possible. Sound good?
Okay. Thank you, Robert. I appreciate it.
All right, cool. All right. Well, I appreciate it and we'll talk soon.
Talk to you soon.
All right, great. All right. So Priscilla, give me the truth. How was that?
It was a lot of information.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because I already kind of told you why it was important for me to buy a house now, but when I'm doing my consultations, I think I'm starting to implement more questions that dig deep in their motivation.
Okay.
So maybe you could have asked a question that dug into my motivation a little bit, but I kind of fed it to you. So maybe that's why you did it.
Well, yeah, I didn't because you had mentioned that you were getting married and you wanted to get out of your parents' house or family's house.
Okay, so that's why.
And so I kind of really figured that out.
Okay.
And that you had a dog that was a chocolate lab that needed its own space, and that you were planning on having kids there and this and that. So yeah, you did kind of feed it to me, but it's a great catch, and that we always have to dig more. So it's great catch.
Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, I think it was a lot of, it was a long conversation, a lot of information, but being able to come back to like, okay, this is what we're going to do to get started. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's what you can plan for. I think going back to like, the point of the conversation was to start looking at properties kind of.
Yep.
Going back to that point at the end of our conversation was helpful. So I can kind of like be like, okay, so thanks for all the information. When are we going to look for homes?
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So based on all the information I got from you, do you think that I could plug all that information in there and really narrow down their search to just a couple homes?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. And in your experience, is that more helpful?
Absolutely. Yeah, the more information, the better.
Okay. Got it. Okay. Cool. So would you remove any of that? Do you think it's too much?
It's hard to tell. Some clients I get a little bit of pushback or like, I guess because I sort of set the expectation that this might only be like 10, 15 minutes. And so I go through as much as I can in that time. And I don't always go into what else is going on in the market while I'm doing my consultation. I'll kind of just go through the consultation and then what the escrow process is like.
Sure.
But I've learned, I'm trying to implement a little bit more of that, what to expect, what's going on out there, like based on what you've heard and what you've seen on the market. Do you have any questions for me? So that way it kind of opens the door to bringing that topic up and letting them sort of ask me questions or concerns they may have, instead of, I guess in my mind, instead of just like throwing a bunch of information on them for them to be concerned about or for them to like start wondering about.
Right.
Yeah. So I think it's a great idea to implement it. I just don't know, like, where's the limit of like how much you should share before we even look at houses.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess my concern, and I don't know, you know, because you do this very well. My concern is if I don't share all that information with them up front, we fall into the situation of, okay, well, I like this property, but well, you want me to write up an offer of how much? And now we've spent the time searching for property. We've spent the time looking at property, and now they're not prepared to write up an offer that's above list price. Or we get into escrow and they see that inspection report and they go, well, we want to ask for $35,000 of stuff. And it's like, well, in this marketplace, when they have 15 other offers, the seller's going to tell you no.
Mm-hmm.
That's my fear, but maybe we don't need to go all that into it.
Do you think that talking about what to expect from inspections is something you can talk about when you're at the writing offer stage instead of no? Okay.
Me personally, now I don't know. This is again, you know better than I do. I don't think so, because my fear is I'm trying to limit the time from start to end. And so if I talk about it at the writing offer stage and then they're not okay with it, then I've essentially wasted all that time up to that point of searching for properties, showing you properties,
Mm-hmm.
writing offers. And now that's hours of time, effort, and energy that now I'm at that point where they're telling me that, well, this is a no deal. And but again, maybe it is too much at the beginning, but that's where my head goes, is I'm trying to eliminate all the possible issues down the road that could make them scared to go forward, because I've just spent all this time, effort, and energy wasted if that's the case.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's my concern. And so again, maybe it's too much. Maybe we do need to just try to do that more at the offer stage. But that's where my mind is going when I wrote out this consultation, was I've got to try to get as much information to them at first. So when we get to the offer stage, it's, yep, you already told me we're going to have to go above. Yep, we already know that we're probably not going to get much from the inspection. Yep, got it. Cool. And we're just smooth sailing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
That's my thought process.
Okay.
Right or wrong, I don't know. But with the market being so competitive, I think we have to find out from our buyers if they're gonna be an escrow sooner.
Mm-hmm.
Because too much time goes by with some of our buyer leads that don't ever turn into escrow, and we need to shorten that time frame. So my thought is, if we really give them the details up front and we go through all this information so we know exactly what they're looking for, we can shorten that time frame.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
That's my thought process on this. Otherwise, we run into this situation where we only ask a couple questions and then we go show them a house and they go, oh, but you know what, I really wanted a fireplace. Damn it. Okay. Or you know what? I want it, you said, a mile away from the freeway. You know what? This one's a little too close to the freeway. So I'm trying to limit some of that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe it's too much, but
Those
that's
are
my
great
thought.
questions for sure. I like the
questions. Good.
questions.
Questions are from anyone else? Feedback from anyone else? Was this good? Was it not good? Does anyone care?
Robert, do you add the jokes in as part of the showtime, or is it just your personality?
Which joke was it?
All the jokes that you put in the little.
All of them. Yes, all of them are written in there.
Okay.
I don't ever wing it.
Oh, okay. So we have to incorporate.
Even on all my sales meetings, if I'll make a joke or a comment, it's written.
Oh, okay. So we have
Yep.
to practice our little.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's
Okay.
just writing them in, like, when's going to be a good moment. So like with Priscilla, you know, when since I know it's just her and Matthew, in this case, Matthew, but he wasn't going to be here, then I had already written in, you know, under the question of who's going to be involved in the decision-making process, I already wrote in there, well, he'll be fine either way, right? You know, like I already knew that joke was going to go in there. So things along those lines. Now, some of them you have to improvise, like when I didn't know she had a dog. So, you know, when she said the dog, I said, okay, so he's a chocolate lab, so he's not going to be okay on a patio. And she's like, no. So, you know, that one I improvised, but most of the other stuff I already had written down.
Robert, now that you've done it, do you feel, well, what do you feel? Do you feel that it's what you expected now that you actually role play it? Or I personally think was a little lengthy. So is that something that
Well,
you
so to answer your question, I knew I had written down, I mean, this is a front and back document of questions. I knew it was going to be long. It was a little longer than I thought, but I guess I think it went as well as I had hoped in terms of what I was trying to get out of it, because in my mind, yes, it was a little bit long. Maybe there's a way I can shorten it. Part of the way I could probably shorten it is just not be so damn expressive, but that's, you know, that's my own curse. You know, what am I going to do? But in terms of, Albert, to your question of, is it what I expected in terms of the information? Yeah, because it was really long, but I got to tell you, I'm walking away, I'm taking this sheet with me and I'm going to the MLS, you know, to start. And I'm searching Lakewood. I'm going 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. I'm looking up the square footage. I'm looking up all these other different things. I feel pretty comfortable that whatever properties I find for her, they're going to be properties that she's going to write an offer on, or at least be interested in writing up an offer on. So I do think I feel pretty good about what it accomplished in terms of making my process shorter. So it was longer than expected doing this, but I think it's going to make in my mind, and maybe it's just ego because I'm the one who wrote this. In my mind, I think it's going to make the process a lot shorter and easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I have so much, I have every little piece of information possible. So I don't know. That's also my thought on it.
I think the more time you spend on this right now, it'll shorten up. The more time you'll save through the search process. But here's my other question in regards to the criteria. To put all that criteria, you basically narrowing down, especially in this market, you're narrowing down the options.
Right.
Would you say narrowing down to the top, I will guess, criteria rather than putting all the criteria? And I'm just saying 5 is a number, to throw a number in there. But I mean, would you narrow down to what's most important rather than just putting everything and limiting your options?
I would, well, I'm going to put everything in there and see how many homes come up. And because my goal is to say, hey, we did all this and there's 3 homes that fit your criteria, which means we need to go see the 3 homes tomorrow. And we're going to write up an offer aggressively on these 3 homes. Because that's my hope, what I'm trying to avoid with all these questions, you know, pool, fireplace, minimum and maximum square footage, you know, pets, school district, cul-de-sac. What I'm trying to do is avoid saying, hey, there's 40 homes, there's 20 homes that fit your criteria. Because now I've put myself in a position, and I put them in a position where they're going to go see 20 homes. Well, we're not going to go see 20 homes. And so I'm trying to limit that as much as possible. So that's my goal, is to really have all this information so I don't have a lot of homes. Not because I don't want to show them a lot of homes or what's in their best interest, but It just makes the life easier for us and them.
Robert, I have a question. I know that you covered the offer being aggressive and more than likely coming above asking.
Yeah.
My question would be, do we need to dig a little bit deeper in terms of how much the buyers is willing to come up in terms of cash? Are they going to be able to have that available, or is that something you discussed with the lender?
No, that's a great question. If they're going to need to pay the difference between the appraisal, I would typically do that. That one I would save for the offer, meaning that if I knew that if I had to ask them to waive the appraisal contingency, I would save that for when they were going to submit the offer to say, hey, look, we're competing against some people that have waived the appraisal contingency. If you want this property, this is probably what you're going to have happen, but here's what that means. I would save that for that type of offer. To do that. But it also depends on their price range and down payment, things along those lines. They were 20% down at 750. So I know they got a little bit of cash. And I know 750, while it's competitive, is not as tough as 500,000 and 3.5% down. Then it would be a little bit different. But yeah, you could dive into a little bit more there.
Okay, so you're determining this based on their purchase price. You're thinking for that purchase.
Right. If they're 500,000, if they were 500,000, for example, yeah, then maybe I gotta have another conversation about, what their options are to purchase a property. As far as, hey, you might, do you have any extra cash? If they're 3.5% down, hey, do you have any extra cash in case we gotta, waive something? Do you have something to come up with that? 20% down, they probably, at 20% at 750,000, it's 150 grand. They got a little bit of cash. They got some wiggle room they can use with. Plus, she also told me earlier they could qualify for more. They're only going 750 because she might want to take some time off when they have the kid. So it just depends on everyone's situation. Might be different. Good question. Good question.
I like that.
All right, cool. All right, well, very good. Well, look, if I'll put this in the chat box, this particular form. If you guys like it, you can edit it. You can do whatever it is that you want to it. But the point of all this is make sure whatever you're doing, that you're doing some sort of consultation. Some sort of buyer consultation to figure out how do I know what they're looking for? How can I get them, a little bit better, so and so forth. That's really what it comes down to. So make sure you're doing something along those lines to do that. All right. Priscilla, you're the best.
Thank you.